does a daughter say goodbye to a woman who gave her life? How do I find words big enough for the mother whose womb carried me, whose hands held me, whose sweat protected me, whose prayers covered me, and whose discipline shaped the woman I became? You have gone to be with the Lord, but everywhere I turn, I still find you. I find you in the early morning silence before the world wakes up. I find you in the memory of Nyeri, where I was born in 1974, not far from the solemn beauty of Mount Kenya. I find you on those cold footpaths of the 1970s and 1980s, walking before dawn when most people are still asleep and you are already on your way to someone's farm to till the land. I see you with a hoe in your hand. I see your back bending over the soil. I hear you humming a hymn while your body was tired, your heart was heavy, and your mind was full of 11 children. 11 children. Mom, even now, I pause at that number with awe. You raised 11 of us with single-handed dedication, courage, discipline, and faith. 9 daughters and 2 sons. A house full of noise, quarrels, laughter, chaos, school uniforms, lost shoes, porridge, coughs, sneezes, and dreams that had not yet found a language. Our 3-bedroomed house with its mud walls, earthen floor, and iron sheet roof was not rich in material things. The cold entered through the spaces between the walls, and the roof was as if it owned the house. Yet under the roof, you built something stronger than concrete. You built family. You built dignity. You built discipline. You built faith. There were more children than plates, but there was never less love than we needed. When we woke up to the commotion of childhood, you had already begun your day. You are already somewhere outside, fighting the cold with a hoe in your hands, tilling someone else's farm, so that we could have flour for our porridge, ugali for supper, medicine when we fell sick, which we hardly did, plus exercise books and pencils for school. Not a single coin in your hand was wasted on luxury. You spent yourself on us. You bought food instead of comfort. You bought school materials instead of beauty. Indeed, you are beautifully and wonderfully made. You carried our needs for your own. That is love. That is motherhood. That is faithfulness. Mom, I now understand what I did not fully understand as a child. You are not merely working, you are worshiping through labor. You are praying with your hands. You are writing your theology in the soil. You taught me that God is not only found in church. God is also found in the mother who wakes before dawn to feed her children. God is found in quiet sacrifice. God is found in the woman who has every reason to give up, but chooses again and again to rise. You are my first leader. Before I ever entered the insurance sector, before I sat with business leaders, before I stepped into public life, I had already attended your school. It had no blackboard, it had no bell, and no graduation ceremony. But it taught me lessons no university could have taught me, better than even Harvard. Those words followed me from Nyeri to Gitathi-ini Girls High School. They followed me when I completed Form 4 in and did not have the luxury of a smooth path into the future. They followed me when I got my first job in Nyeri in 1994. They followed me when I came to Nairobi and began finding my way through a city that can test your courage before it rewards your effort. They followed me into Alico. They followed me into CFC Life. They followed me into every insurance presentation, every rejection, every commission route, every meeting, every door I knocked on, every client I pursued, every target I pursued, every award I won. When I became one of Kenya's leading life insurance agents, people saw success. But I knew the soil from which it had grown. My first business school was watching you stretch 1 shilling for as long as possible. My first leadership lesson was watching you hold 11 children together with discipline and prayer. My first lesson in dignity was watching you refuse to let poverty define your worth. I remember cooking ugali in that small house, standing near the fire stove, stirring the large soot-darkened sufuria, trying to stretch the flour so that the food would feed more mouths. I did not know then that I was learning one of life's greatest lessons. Scarcity demands wisdom, courage, creativity. That lesson still guides. He also taught us faith, not the loud faith of performance, but the deep faith of endurance. You believe that God walked with us through footpaths, farms, cold mornings, empty pockets, sick children, and uncertain tomorrows. You believe that after praying, one had to rise and work. Pray, then work. Trust God, then move to your feet. Believe, then carry the jerrycan. Hope, then cook the ugali. Cry if you must, but rise before dawn. That was your gospel. That was your clarion call. Later, I found your wisdom echoed in 1 Thessalonians 4:11-12, which teaches us to lead a quiet life, mind our own business, and work with our hands. Those words sounded familiar because you had already preached them to us throughout your life. You taught us not to depend on pity. You taught us not to be defined by poverty. You taught us not to answer every insult. You taught us to treat everyone as a person, as a son or daughter of God. Those lessons carried me through business, through motherhood, philanthropy, and politics. They steadied me when life was difficult and reminded me to remain faithful to God, family, conscience, and service. Mom, death has taken your physical presence from us, and that pain is real. I miss your voice. I miss your eyes. I miss the comfort of knowing that you are still here with us I miss the comfort of knowing that you are still here with us. You're still here with us you're not still here with us in the ordinary way. But gratitude is also real. I thank God that He chose you to be my mother. I thank God that I was born from your womb, the womb that refused defeat. I thank God that I grew up in a home where poverty was present, but love was louder. I thank God for your prayers, your discipline, your sacrifice, your strength, and your faith. You were not famous in the way the world defines fame, but to us, you are unforgettable. You are one of the greatest women of Africa. You raised 11 children. You honored God in hardship. You worked with your hands. You walked in dignity. You loved without luxury. You gave without abundance. You endured without applause. So today, my dear mother, I do not only say goodbye, I say thank you. Thank you for the porridge. Thank you for the ugali. Thank you for the shoes. Thank you for the exercise books. Thank you for the prayers we heard and the prayers we never heard. Thank you for teaching me that greatness does not always wear a crown. Sometimes greatness carries a hoe, walks through the code, spends every coin on her children. Rest now, Mom. Rest from the farms. Rest from the cold mornings. Rest from the endless calculations. Rest from worry. Rest in the arms of the God you trusted. And as you rest, know this. I will keep walking. I will keep working. I will keep praying. I will keep serving. I will keep remembering. And I will keep carrying your lessons in every room God allows me to enter. Your daughter still hears you. Your daughter still loves you. Your daughter still rises because you taught her